Good morning, I'm Tadin, and in this video I'm gonna try to teach you how to actually use a boss and not just throw the game trying to take it. If you have played the game of Heroes of the Storm, I'm confident that you have at least once gone for the boss and then lost a game because of that. In fact, it's actually quite common. I feel like the biggest reason for this is the fact that people don't actually plan for the boss. Instead, they just run out of things to do on the map and decide that doing the boss is the only thing to do, even if it's absolutely the worst possible thing to do. If you aren't sure about the boss, just keep pushing as a team. You don't need to take the boss to win, it's just a mercenary to tip the scale in your favor. So, with that in mind, I'm gonna try to actually explain what the boss can do and how to actually plan for taking the boss. First off, what can the boss do? If I had to guess, purely by some people's expectations, I would say that the boss is an instant game winner and trying to capture it is worth any and every risk. However, I have played this game and I have actually seen for myself what the boss can do. Turns out, it isn't actually that much. The boss is basically a glorified meat shield. He doesn't deal that much damage, but he is pretty good at keeping the enemy towers and keeps busy for a while. Right, now that you know what the boss can do, let's talk about what he is used for. As you might have guessed from like 10 seconds ago, the boss isn't that great at pushing on his own. He is the best mercenary at pushing, but that is still a lot worse than a normal push with heroes. Now, the first use of the boss is to push. Take the boss and walk into the lane with it, and take out everything that attacks your boss. If you don't run into the enemy team, for some reason, the amount of pushing you can do is incredible. However, you're probably gonna run into some enemy heroes. Hopefully you're at full health, because this is a really good time for a team fight. While the boss is still tanking, you have free reign to just walk into their base and either kill it or the enemy team. That is the first use, using him as a meat shield for your push. The second use is distraction. Like every other mercenary, you can use it to distract the enemy team from the objectives. Unlike every other mercenary, they usually send more than one hero to deal with it though. This usually makes getting the objective quite easy. But was it worth it? Let's use the Sky Temple for example. If you traded a boss for just one temple, you got ripped off. A push with the boss would have been worth a lot more, and the objective would still be there because they would have to defend S5, or you could just end the game. So, if you are using the boss as a distraction, make sure that you're actually getting your boss's worth. Alright, if you made it this far, good job. You should now be ready to start planning on when to take the boss. Sadly, most of the time the boss is done when someone decides to ping the boss, instead of actually thinking it through. The first thing you'd have to think about is if it's actually worthwhile to do the boss. If you manage to get into a situation where you can take the boss, you might be able to just push normally and take a keep. However, if you really do need a boss, there are two times that are perfect for taking the boss. The first is when all or most of the enemy team is dead and they can't really fight you for the boss. The second is when the enemy team is busy with an objective. Sometimes when you're behind, you can actually give up on objective just to use the time to take the boss when the enemy team is already occupied. In any case, don't even think about doing the boss unless you know you can do it and most of the team is ready for it. Anyways, quick recap. Boss tanks, you push, take the boss when it's worth the risk. Thanks for watching. If you have any thoughts on bosses, feel free to leave a comment. If you'd like more videos, subscribe. See you in the next video.